So hey everybody, my name is Olivia Cartelli, and today I'm interviewing Leah Bergman, who is the creator of fruitcake.com, which is a fashion, beauty, and food blog, and it's super awesome and you should check it out. And so this is Leah,
Hi.
and so I have a few questions for her, and the first is going to be, how long have you been blogging?
I started my blog right after Jason and I got married, so that was September of 2010.
Okay.
So what is that, for a little over 4 years ago?
Yep, that's awesome. And what inspired you to create Fruitcake?
Well, I'm a graphic designer, and most of my work, although it's fun, it's not especially creative all the time. And something that I didn't know when I was graduating from college, going into graphic design. But I decided that I had a lot of other passions besides design, and like cooking, for example, crafting, and other creative projects. So it was sort of just an outlet for me to share my creativity.
And what do you think was the turning point in your blog? Where was it like a specific event, or did you realize, oh, I could actually get sponsored for this and it could take me to a whole different kind of level? Or what do you think it was?
It took a while because, to tell you the truth, for the first couple of years, I really wasn't looking to turn my blog into a business. I just wanted it to be a fun activity that I could do when I wasn't working. And so I guess the turning point for me was when I started to really see that I was gaining a followership and that people were reading my blog consistently. So I was recognizing commenters who were coming on a daily basis and getting emails from readers saying that they were really relating to kind of what I was sharing. And then in terms of a serious turning point, I started working with a media company, Burst Media, and they are the ones who would take care of all of the ads for my site. And as my traffic was growing, they came to me with a sponsorship opportunity to work with the Gap. And I think that at that point, that was the point in my blogging career or whatever, when I was like, oh my gosh, this is really big. And I think that's when I took it a little bit more seriously.
That's so cool. That Gap ad is really awesome.
Yeah, it was so fun.
And how did most of your subscribers hear about the blog? Like, was it through your other social medias, or what do you think it was?
Well, yeah, because when I first started the blog, I sent it out to kind of friends and family, like, oh, hey, read my blog. I shared a recipe. But from there, I think a lot of it was word of mouth, but online word of mouth. And then when I really got serious and started, I knew that I needed to pretty quickly get on all social media. So I'm on Facebook and on Instagram. Well, Instagram wasn't around back then, but Twitter, so once I started sort of promoting myself on those networks and really interacting with other bloggers, that's when I started gaining a followership. So, I mean, it was everything from being on social media all the time consistently to commenting on other blogs and just interacting with people, because in this community, the more you interact with people, the more you're going to gain, a followership.
Awesome. And who are the main sponsors of your site, and how did they become interested in your blog?
Well, my sponsors change based on, a lot of the sponsors that I have, they sponsor me for sponsored content. So it's different than, let's say, somebody who is advertising regularly with paid ads on the side of my site. A lot of my sponsorship is through sponsored posts, and so that just varies. I've worked with The Gap. I've worked with Fuse, which is a beverage company owned by Coca-Cola, and they've sponsored quite a few things. I've worked with Blue Diamond Almonds to develop recipes and do party ideas for them. So it's kind of, I have a broad range of sponsors, some food, some fashion, it's just kind of like all over the place.
Okay. And then how important is your Instagram, your Twitter, your Facebook, your LinkedIn, your YouTube? How important are all of those to keep Fruitcake alive?
Well, Of all of the social media platforms, I mean, they're all important, but what I've found is that choosing a platform that you find is best for you and really, or even just three platforms that you really feel are best for you and focusing your time and energy on those, I think you're going to get better results. So for me, Instagram is my favorite platform, the one that I use the most, and it's very important. I have readers who will see a post on Instagram and then come and right away they'll comment on my blog or find me the next day and say, oh, I found you on Instagram, and I was curious, so I came over to your blog. So I definitely see a growth in my traffic. It's really important, and it's an opportunity to create more blog content on all of your platforms. So I do something a little bit different for Facebook than I do for Twitter, for example, and something different for Instagram. So it's just another way of doing kind of mini blogging on all those different platforms.
Right. So how important do you think it is that you keep posting? Is it like every day you post something on Instagram, even though I follow you on all your social media? How does that keep your readers and everything interested? I know I like everything, so I'm sure you have those people that are like me who like everything that you do too.
Yeah, no, it is really important because unfortunately, or fortunately, I guess you could say, it's a way of keeping your audience interested. And if you go, for example, on vacation for a week and you literally just become silent and you don't share anything, you're losing out on keeping your reader engaged. So I do try to share regularly. There's always days when something comes up or I'm just so busy with work that I don't have the time. I don't share if it's not quality content, so that's the one thing. I guess I could probably be better about sharing on Twitter because Twitter is, an easy way that I don't have to actually take time to put together a photo. But in terms of Instagram, which is to me my favorite platform, I share during the week on a daily basis and sometimes multiple times a day. Olivia, you probably see.
Yeah.
On your Instagram.
Yeah. But I love it. I love the food. I love the fashion. I love all the homemade stuff. And it's really awesome.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I know that I may like it, but who do you think your target audience is?
Well, definitely a female reader, and I do look at my target audience and sort of run my analytics. I think Google Analytics is a great way to know where your traffic's coming from, who's looking at your site, and what they're really reading. And so I've found that my target audience is I have a pretty large age range, but it's women, and they're usually between the ages. I think my target audience is like 20 to 45 or something really broad. And I'm sure there are a few men who read my site, but I don't know that there's a whole lot of content that's targeted towards men, so it's pretty much a women's lifestyle brand, and that's who's reading it.
Well, I know a lot of my friends have started reading it now.
Yay! Thanks.
And I know that you mentioned you do a lot of stuff with like Gap, and I've noticed you've done a lot of stuff for Anthropologie. And do things get published onto their social media sites, and do they tag you in them, and do you see like an increase in followers like automatically, or?
Absolutely. Oh yeah. So when I've hosted a few events with Anthropologie, that's how I worked with them. And Anthropologie is a really great company because they give you so much creative freedom where they ask me to host a craft event and then they let me kind of do my thing and have a party in store. And every time that Anthropologie has socially shared any of the photos from my events, my viewership, just my followers on Instagram especially, go way up. So yeah, it absolutely helps when a brand shares my content, and I try to encourage them to do that. If I'm working with a brand, I feel like it's mutually beneficial if we are both, sharing each other's stuff on social media. So yeah, it helps.
So they also see like a positive impact when you post or when they ask you to like host these craft events and everything?
Right, yes. And that's the thing with bloggers, because it's still surprisingly a lot of companies view it as a new platform that they're just not really, they don't know the benefits or the effects of blogging yet.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of brands are starting to work with bloggers, but it's one of those things where more and more they're realizing the value of working with a blogger like myself because, well, first of all, I don't work with brands that I wouldn't wear or use in my own home. So Anthropologie, for example, is a store that I love, I personally love. And because I've affiliated myself with them, it's marketing for them, but on a much more personal level because my readers are not coming to my site to buy a product. They're coming because they trust my opinion on things. They like the recipes that I share or the projects that I share, and so they're kind of taking my word for the fact that this is a good brand to affiliate yourself with or to shop. So in that way, it's really beneficial for Anthropologie, maybe even more than traditional advertising.
Okay. And then since you use social media as such a large platform, do you see any negatives from being so reliant on it?
That's a good question. Well, personally, a negative effect of social media is just that I'm consumed with it all day, every day. So yes, I'm very reliant on it. And also there's a little bit of a fear that if I'm not, that I will, disappear into like the internet never land because, you know, during Christmas time, I decided I was going to take a few days to just kind of like decompress. And I saw a negative effect from that. So, not being plugged in, not being on social media has a negative effect for my blog, and therefore, yeah, I'm very reliant on it. And I don't know if that's a good thing. That's a hard question.
I mean, that is pretty scary having to be not being able to really maybe take like a week off.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh my gosh, I'm gonna lose like 100 subscribers or something.
Right. But you know what it does for me is it keeps me motivated because I'm always thinking about content I'm always sharing. And I mean, now I've been doing this for 4 years and I still have more ideas than I can even physically make happen for my blog. So it's cool. The more you are on social media, the more it inspires you. So I do try to use it as a tool to keep my creative, juices flowing and things like that.
Okay. And you've mentioned to me personally that you are going to be teaching a social media seminar this summer.
Yes.
And what do you hope to accomplish with other bloggers, photographers, writers, and like all those people who sign up for this seminar?
Well, I've hosted one other, it's called Fruit Camp, which is basically a boot camp for bloggers, but it's not just for bloggers. Like you said, it's for photographers, writers, any sort of small business, creative man or woman who wants to come and just learn about growing their business organically and through social media. So we did our last class back in October. We're doing our next class in June at Darling Magazine's headquarters here in LA. And I think that what I'm hoping to achieve is, well, with our last class, it was a great group of ladies. It does create community to kind of reach out to other people who are doing a similar thing to you. I can't stress enough how great networking is, especially in this industry. So being able to meet other people who inspire you, and not only am I hoping to kind of share a little bit of what I've learned over these 4 years with people who attend the class, but also I always learn from people who, I meet and who have figured things out on their own. There's just really no template to how to do this, and there's no manual. I mean, I'm sure that in the future there will be, but right now it's so new still that I'm hoping to kind of help new bloggers or other creative people on how they can get their business or turn their passion into their business and hopefully, make some money, have fun, and, create something out of it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, so what do you think your long-term, do you think blogging is a long-term career for you, or do you think it's temporary, or do you want to focus more on your design work, or just focus on blogging?
Right. That's hard. That's a really hard question, and I I think about it all the time actually. I mean, graphic design, one of the misconceptions is that a lot of bloggers who are, quote unquote full-time bloggers, which I do consider myself a full-time blogger because I blog 5 days a week. But I still have design clients, and that's the source of my main income. So I think it's unrealistic to say that I could have my blog and have that be my only source of income and my only job. I still love doing graphic design, and so I'm not giving that up anytime soon. I would love to be able to just bake and craft and share these things and do that for, the rest of my life. But I don't know if it will turn into more than a blog. I hope so eventually, I guess I see in the long term it becoming much more of a website where, like we have a few contributors right now for our site, and they're all so talented. They're really talented ladies. I'd love to have, more people contributing, sharing inspiration, and doing things like that so that it turns into bigger than just a little blog. Yeah.
And so, are those your future aspirations for Fruitcake, just making it larger than what it is now and having more people in it?
Yeah, I would love that. I mean, I'd love to build the team. I think we have a really good team right now, but I'm also, this coming year, I'll be launching a few products, actually, which is a new thing that I'm doing, and I haven't announced that on my blog yet because I'm still working on them, but they'll be centered around entertaining, which is most of what I share on my site. So, being able to offer some products that go along with the recipes and the cocktails and fun things like that. So that's another thing that I'm working on. And I think it will just make it a more well-rounded brand.
That's so awesome. I love you, and I love Fruitcake, and everyone who watches this and reads my paper will go and check out fruitcake.com. And go ahead and find Leah Bergman on Facebook. You'll find her Twitter, her Instagram there. Or you can find me, Olivia Cartelli, and you'll find my shared posts from her.